Have you ever gazed into the sky and wondered, will life ever be more than it seems? Do you ever compare yourself with others and wonder, will I ever reach my dreams? Do you ever long for someone to passionately love you and care, or for someone to just be there? For many years, I longed to find true happiness and fulfillment. So badly, I wanted to fall madly in love with someone, with the idea that they would make all of those things come true for me. I wanted the storybook fairy tale, the Hollywood love story. So desperately, I wanted to be needed by someone, as I needed them. And so I started dating seriously at the age of 15. I threw away my innocence with the hope that I would be loved and find some sort of fulfillment. Many relationships in a row, all of them at least a year long. In between those relationships, I threw my heart, mind, and body at other men, trying my hardest to get them to fall in love with me. And if I succeeded, for a short while I was genuinely happy. At first, each relationship was blissful. I was always head over heels in love, but soon enough I would find those feelings would quickly fade away. It was a vicious cycle. When I realized that one didn't satisfy, I moved on to the next, hoping that the needs that were not met by the prior boyfriend would be by the current one. In the midst of these relationships, I was mentally tormented, forced to be sexually intimate when I didn't want to, became pregnant, and was forced into an abortion. Inside, I was so broken. I truly felt dead. Each day was mundane and useless. I was simply just living. But in my mind, there had to be someone who would fulfill all my needs and desires. There had to be someone who would bring me everlasting happiness.
But you see, even when you're lost in your darkest hour, there's a God who is consistent in pursuing you. Even when you have completely turned your face on Him, His eyes always remain on you. His grace, love, and mercy will never fade. Patiently, He waits for you to turn around, but your prideful nature makes you deaf. Until one day you realize each day passes by without a purpose, and the decisions that you have made lead to nothing but emptiness and destruction. You become angry and bitter, and soon enough loneliness strangles you by the neck until you fall face first into the ground. Then you hear your Creator's words softly and empathetically. "Child, come to me. I will hold you, comfort you, and take care of you." His soft whisper to me was by sending a group of angels into my work. I was working at Applebee's, and every Tuesday night a large group of college students from a nearby church would come in. They were so full of light and life that their love for God radiated into my empty heart. I longed for their happiness and knew that my heart was yearning for something more. So one Tuesday night, I decided to make a trip and meet this God of theirs. Quickly, I realized that God had picked that very night for me to be there. He knew exactly what my heart and ears needed to hear. It was like the message that the pastor spoke that night was written just for me. Tears began to stream down my face because I felt God's presence and love so strongly. For so long, I was desperate for something, and it was that night I realized I was desperate for God. I knew clearly what He wanted me to do, so that night I went home and I broke up with my boyfriend who had been controlling me for the past year and a half. I decided now that God was in control. God's Holy Spirit had taken over my soul, and my heart began to beat truly for the first time. Everything in my life began to change. I was truly a new person. I was still the same person on the outside, but Jesus had revived my inside. The longing for fulfillment was met instantly. My hunger for love was satisfied. My thirst for companionship with somebody was met by God. The anger and resentment I felt towards life turned into nothing but love to serve my new King. I even felt physically renewed. The fatigue and tiredness I had felt each day turned into nothing but energy and excitement. When I am tempted by the devil's evil schemes, I call to the Lord. When I am lonely, He comforts me. When I feel empty, He overflows me with His love. When I am weak, He gives me strength. And when I am brokenhearted, He mends it back together. When I took my first step with Jesus, I realized that everything I was missing was found in Him. I find contentment through Him and Him alone. You see, for once I was lost in a world captured by darkness, hate, resentment, and complete and utter emptiness. But now I am found by the one whose love and grace is so unconditional that I am set free from my chains of that bitter and empty world. So if you are interested in learning about this God of mine that I love so dearly, please check this out.